Hello everybody! Well done if you've made it this far, because that means that you are on day 10 of Meals with Jesus. And you may have found this already the whole way through, even these times, that there can sometimes just be so many things that seem like good things to do, and they could take up our whole time if we let them. And sometimes it's really hard to actually find time to listen to Jesus, which is kind of what these sessions encourage. So that's what we're going to be thinking about today, but I'm just going to pray before we start. Dear Father, I pray that we would be helped by you to believe that you really do love us more than anyone else, and you always want what's best for us. I pray that we'd be reminded of that now. Amen. So in your book, apparently you can have, I think you have the option of having collected 5 ingredients from your kitchen. So maybe you have them with you, in which case that's very good and you can talk about this with your family. But I've got 5 ingredients which I'm just going to show you. Let's hope it works. There they are. Some of them need a bit of explaining. That's just lentils. That's obvious to anyone. These are German noodles, which a friend of mine gave me. So yeah, maybe you've tried them. They're called Spatzel, but anyway. And this I have no idea what to do with, but someone gave it to me, and it's chestnut puree. So those are my 5 ingredients. And what we're thinking about is basically how, obviously, if I want to make a particular recipe, then I could include, in theory, whatever I want. So for example, if I'm going to make banana bread, then I could, in theory, add some chestnut puree, but as I've never tried it, it might not be such a great idea, and really what you want is to swirl some Nutella into it. Or for example, if I'm going to make dinner, I could, in theory, put in the most humongous apple I've ever seen, but it's probably better to use something like noodles, because they'll fill me up and they're a bit more suitable for eating for dinner. A little illustration of what we're going to read in the story today. So we are getting to the part of the Bible where it talks about Martha, who's trying to do her very best to do the right thing, but she's still missing out on what was the best thing to do, which is kind of like cooking, trying your very best, but actually missing out on using the noodles instead of using an apple to cook your dinner. So I would like you, or you're very welcome to if you'd like to, look out for how Jesus described the mistake that Martha was making as we read this short little passage now. So it's Luke 10, and it's just 2 verses that I will read. But the Lord answered her, "Martha, Martha, you are getting worried and upset about too many things. Only one thing is important. Mary has chosen the right thing, and it will never be taken away from her." Now, in your books that you've been using, there are 2 questions, and the first one is the one that I mentioned just earlier. How does Jesus describe the mistake that Martha's making? And the second one is that we often can get worried or anxious about things that are actually worth getting anxious about, for example, crossing the road or getting sick. But Martha's problem was that she was actually worrying about things that weren't worth it and were good things. So what good things can worry us? And that is the second question. So there are 2 questions. They'll come up on the screen, and if you'd like to pause the video, you can take some time now to talk about them together. So I hope that was helpful. Living in a broken world means that we're always distracted, and there are lots of things that can just sort of loom in our minds when really we need to be able to listen to Jesus and ask him for help and cast our anxieties on him. So the time has come as part of the session where it would be really great to pray, maybe based on things you talked about just now with those questions. But yeah, do feel free to stop the video now, and there'll just be a chance to talk to Jesus about things that you need his help with. So I hope you can go and do that. That would be great.